Hello and welcome to another episode. I am James Swanwick, and today we're talking to a 42-year-old software developer who is a husband and a father. His name is Raj Pandher. He is a San Francisco Giants baseball fan, so if that's not your team, apologies. And Raj used to drink excessively during baseball games until he learned how to be alcohol-free, and now he goes to Giants games at AT&T Stadium alcohol-free and says that he has even more fun than any time than when he was drinking. If any of you have a strained marriage or a strained partnership at the moment, then Raj here is going to talk to you a little bit about how he transformed his strained marriage with his lovely wife, transformed it into an incredibly strong marriage. He says he has a far better relationship with his wife now that he is consistently alcohol-free. In fact, he's 130 days alcohol-free as we recorded this. Just before I press play on this upcoming conversation, just a reminder that I can send you my alcohol freedom formula guide. If you'd like to go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide, or you can click the link which is in the description of this very podcast episode, and I will send that out to you. It's the same guide and process that I walk through our Project 90 clients. Project 90 is our flagship quit drinking program. Likewise, if you'd like to have a 15-minute, no obligation exploratory phone call with that program's top coach, Victoria English, to see if our 90-day program or our 30-day program or our 5-day program may be for you, then you're welcome to go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/schedule. And you can also click the link in the description down below. Also got a YouTube channel, I should say. Go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/YouTube, and there's a series of videos there where I teach folks various things on how to have fun without alcohol, what to expect in the first 7 to 10 days after you quit drinking, how to manage friends encouraging you to drink. Whole other series of videos there for you as well. That's alcoholfreelifestyle.com/YouTube. All right, let's get into it. Here is Raj Pandher, who is 42 years old from Pleasanthill, California. Here we go. What type of software developer are you, Raj?
So I work on actually medical instruments. Before I was a software developer, I was a scientist, I guess you could say. I have some of those fancy undergraduate degrees in biochemistry, computer science, a couple other ones. And I work on specifically diagnostic medical instruments.
Got it. And you do that where?
In the Bay Area. I'd rather not say the company, just if that's okay.
Yeah, cool. But you're in the Bay Area up in Northern California, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Nice one. Okay, great. And you were drinking a little bit too much over the years. Is that right?
Yes. For me, I have always been a binge drinker. That's always been the way I drink. I was never a habitual regular drinker or nightly drinker. At least not in 2020. That kind of happened during the pandemic, I think, like a lot of people. But I've always been a binge drinker. It started in college. I think like a lot of people who grew up here in the United States, drinking culture is huge in college. And, you go away, you live in the dorms, you're away from home. And I started binge drinking in college, and it was great. It was fun. It was just it. I think I'm naturally a shy, kind of reserved person, and it opened me up in a way that I loved. I was able to socialize, have fun, and I really latched onto it as a way to have fun and enjoy myself.
What was your drink of choice, and how frequently were you drinking it?
Well, so initially, I always hated the taste of alcohol. And so I always had to kind of drink, hard liquor with mixers, like a Crown and Coke, or, in college, they have these jungle juice concoctions. I actually hated the taste of beer when I first started drinking beer. And I feel like maybe for the first 10 years, I really forced myself to try to enjoy beer. And eventually I acquired the taste for it, so to speak. And later in life, I think, again, I started binge drinking in college, but I think as I got older, I didn't really care what I drank. And I drank wine, I drank beer, I drank hard liquor. It didn't really matter because, for me, it was never about enjoying the drink. It was always about getting drunk. And so as long as there was alcohol in it, I would drink it.
It's crazy, isn't it, that we force ourselves to acquire the taste, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I want to say as I got older, like in my late 30s, I'm around, some very accomplished professional people, and I acquired the taste to drink bourbon straight, whiskey straight, scotch straight. And I remember the first, 15, 20 years of my drinking career, I had to take a shot. Like I couldn't even imagine sipping on hard liquor. But yeah, that happened to me. Like I was able to sip on bourbon, like in my late 30s, early 40s, which I never thought I'd be able to do, but it happened.
It seems to me that you went to alcohol acquiring school, like you actually went and got an education and you kind of little bit by bit, you're like, oh, I still don't like it, but let me just try some more. Actually, I still don't like it, but let me just try some more. And gradually over time, you acquired the taste. And congratulations. Now you get to drink this attractively packaged poison even more and feel crappier and anxious and all of the, consequences that come from that. I mean, to me, this is not a criticism of you. It's more of a criticism of cultural conditioning, or maybe just an observation, isn't it, of cultural conditioning? Because I bet all those people that you were having those drinks with were all smiling as they were offering it to you. And we're all kind of like jovial and friendly and, oh yeah, let's share a drink together and ha, ha, ha. And so the smile on these people's faces as they're giving you this attractively packaged poison, it's kind of trying to like create this idea that this is actually fun. This is actually enjoyable. This is what creates a bond and connection and fun. I think it's ridiculous. I mean, it's preposterous, quite frankly. But that's what most drinkers in the world probably experience. And it sounds like that was your experience as well, Raj.
Yeah, it's always for me been a social thing. It's not something I ever wanted to do alone or at home. It was always out with friends, family, and it was just it felt like a requirement to socialize. Really, that's how I always viewed alcohol, and that's why I thought I needed to learn how to be a drinker.
Nuts, isn't it? Nuts, crazy.
Yeah, it is.
Do you realize how ridiculous it is now? You probably didn't realize it was ridiculous when you were going through that, but you realize that now.
Oh, of course. Oh, now I'm in shock that how stigmatized it is to not be a drinker. Like I can't even wrap my head around why people, and even to this day, like when people find out what I'm doing, they're just like, they don't believe it. They think it's just this little kooky little phase, that no one thinks it's okay to not drink alcohol forever, like or regularly. Like it's just, exactly what you said. It's,
go ahead.
You have this thing you say where it's like we're living in the Matrix and everybody around us is living in it. And the ones who stop drinking are onto what everyone else is doing because it's not. Yeah, it's wild. I just saw the new Matrix movies. That's why I just thought of that.
Alcohol causes more deaths and more health problems than most of the other hard drugs combined, including cocaine and heroin and crystal meth and all of that kind of stuff. Like it literally causes more deaths and is responsible for more health issues and more social deterioration. Did I say that right? Deterioration. I've got to make sure I might have an extra syllable in there somewhere. Than all the other drugs, yet alcohol is the only drug where you have to justify not taking it.
Yep.
Like if you choose not to take it, not to have it, and to be alcohol free, you have to explain yourself. People demand an explanation, and yet it's the most dangerous drug.
Yeah. And just recently, I heard that alcohol is the third leading cause of preventable death in the world, behind obesity and tobacco. And nobody has to justify not wanting to be obese or, smoking. But, that news is out there. Everyone sees that and reads that, and they still won't, do something about it.
Yeah, I mean, they're always going on in the news, the opioid crisis. Oh, there's a drug crisis in America, the opioid crisis. People are dying from opioids and getting stuck on alcohol. Do you know what percentage that makes up of problems compared to alcohol? It's like less than 2%, probably less than 1%. And yet that gets all of this dramatic news, like Prince, the former, the singer, died of an opioid issue. And it gets all the headlines, opioid crisis in America. 99% of the problems from drugs is alcohol. And yet we're all just smiling, consuming our attractively packaged poison and chastising those of us who choose not to consume it.
And honestly, I get it kind of why that happens, because, even when I was, I never thought I didn't want to quit. I never thought I would quit drinking. I never thought I didn't want to drink alcohol. And it was just something I fiercely protected inside. Even when people kind of like my closest loved ones came to me and said, you know what, I know you don't, everyone knew I didn't drink every day. So I think it was a hard thing for people to approach me with, because it was only like that, once a month, or maybe more than that, maybe once a week at certain points, where I would just get too drunk, say something stupid, act stupid. And, people would say like, what are you doing? You're taking it a little too far. But it's just something you fiercely protect inside that you don't want to give up. And I feel like we're doing that as the masses. That's the group think mentality around alcohol. Is like, we protect this thing like it's something so precious. And I kind of understand why that happens. It's because people don't want to, I don't know. I mean, it's just, people want to hold on to it. They don't want to give it up.
You wanted to hold on to it and not give it up, right?
Yeah, definitely.
And why do you think that was?
It just felt like that was the only way I could have fun. It really did. It felt like it was the only way I could go to a social event, loosen up, talk to people, and enjoy myself.
Okay. And so as we're recording this, how many days alcohol free are you?
I am 130 days alcohol free.
Why are you laughing at that?
Because that sounds like a figure I could have never imagined in my entire adult life. I could never have imagined going. I mean, I went 90 days earlier this year, and we can talk about that. But that was hard. I was white knuckling it, through that, and I was just. It was a personal challenge I made to myself, because I thought I drank too much, or I did drink too much in 2020. That I said, okay, 2021 is going to be different, and I went 90 days, and I was so proud of myself. But I thought to myself, I'll never be able to do this again, because it was hard.
So when you were drinking, it felt like the only way you could have fun was when you were drinking. And then during the past 130 days that you've been alcohol free, have you had fun?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I've had way more fun, because I wake up feeling great about the kind of fun I had, and the nights too. Like I get up early now. My routines have definitely changed differently, but it's the end of the nights when I'm at a social event where I just feel this fulfillment of like, I had the same amount of fun, and there's just this natural high that I get, after a night like that I can't explain. Sometimes I'm wired at night because I had so much fun and I can't even go to sleep. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun in the last 130 days, definitely.
So just walk us through, what were some of your fun activities with alcohol? And then what have been your fun activities without alcohol these past 130 days?
So one of my really fun activities with alcohol was going to baseball games. I'm a huge San Francisco Giants fan. I love to go to baseball games. They have a beautiful stadium here in San Francisco. I remember when it opened. And that's something that I've always done. We used to always pregame before we go into the stadium and have a few beers, and then just drink, excessively during the game it allowed me to get up in my seat and yell and scream and cheer for my team and talk to, my friends. And that's always what I associated with, like, kind of going to a sporting event and drinking a lot of beer. And in the first week, I kind of wanted to challenge myself when I joined P90 to go to a baseball game without drinking. And I remember I had so many nerves about it, but I just through the initial coaching to, kind of put yourself in the mindset of, I'm going to have the most fun about anybody in this baseball game. And so that's what I went into the mindset with. And I had I actually went to the game by myself, even though I had friends there. They weren't sitting where I was sitting, and I was talking to the people around me. I was cheering, I was screaming, and it was awkward. Like at first, like it didn't feel natural at all, but I did it. I walked out of that stadium, completely sober, which is the first time. And, I've been going to that stadium for 20 years, and I've walked in alcohol, sober a few times, or, not drunk, but I've never walked out of that stadium completely kind of inebriated. And just walking out of there and just, really noticing the game, the plays too, that kind of stuff. It was a completely different experience. And I just thought to myself, what have I been doing for 20 years? Like this is the way to go to a game. And so, yeah, that was a big eye-opening moment. And that was in the first week of the program. And that really kind of made me believe, like, this might work. This program might work for me. So that was a big one. And aside from that, just these little kind of social events that we have with, like, friends, obviously right now you can't have these big gatherings, kind of, that's still kind of frowned upon. So just these little social events that that I go to now. I find I can just talk to people and just, it's just, those are the events where I didn't think it was easy to socialize and talk to people without having at least, a few drinks in me, if not more than a few, but I can do that now. And I've also noticed I'm very aware of what is fun and what's not fun, because I would use alcohol to make events fun. Sometimes you go somewhere and you're just not having a good time, but you're going to drink until you have a good time. And when I go to an event like that, because I still want to my friends drink a lot and they hang out at bars, we're out a lot, and I still want to be able to hang out with them. But what I notice is, if I'm not having a good time, especially a couple hours in, if my friends, gotten a little sloppy, first of all, since I'm not drinking, I can just leave anytime. I can just get in my car and just take off. And so I'm very aware of what's fun and what's not fun, and how I used alcohol to force the fun out of situations.
Got it. The Giants play at Oracle Park, is that right?
Yes. I maybe it's a new name now. I think it's called AT&T. Yeah.
AT&T.
Yeah.
You know why? Yeah. Because I was pulling up a photo from my iPhotos here, because I went there, and I'll show it to you. For the listener, I'm just showing a photo of to Raj of me at what is it? AT&T Stadium? Is that where it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's July 23rd, 2013. I went to the same ballpark. Had a wonderful time. I hadn't been drinking 3 years by that stage. I remember that day just going, wow, I love being in America, and like singing "Take Me Back to the Ballpark" and like like the playing the US national anthem, and there were some fighter planes that flew overhead as well, and it was like, wow, this is like God bless America, and did it all alcohol free and had an absolute ball. So I can totally relate to that. And what do your friends say now that you're alcohol free, and what did they say about you going to the baseball not drinking, or to events not drinking?
I think initially they just, because they saw me go through it, or they've seen me go through these periods, right, where I'm trying to quit, but I'm not trying to quit, but just like taking a break. I never was trying to quit. I was just always maybe trying to take a break, but I was never having a good time during those periods. That you could tell I was tight. I was just trying to get through it. And now I think that's what they thought the initial process would be like now, but now they see me and they see that I'm truly happy now. And a lot of them are scratching their heads. A lot of them are like considering like trying to do this. I know they want to. A lot of them say they just can't. I get a similar response from all my friends. I don't have the willpower to do it. That's what they all say. And I try to explain to them, it's not even about willpower. Willpower will get you through the first, couple weeks, month, maybe, but it's really about just, it's really about just learning to go without it, and just really accepting that alcohol is not making you better. It's not extending this part of your personality that you think you don't have. It's just, I don't know. They don't get it. Sometimes I don't get it, James. I have this, towards the end of the program, when it really started clicking, I had this thing about like, I think this is like black magic, because this is a problem that I had my entire life. And how is it that 70 days, I feel like I don't have it anymore? It doesn't make sense to me. And I think they're all kind of thinking the same thing. It's like, how did this happen to you? Because I was known as the guy who, calling shots, like, let's drink. I was the one keeping the party going till after the party was over. And that's what I was known for. So yeah, it's confusing to them.
Yeah, I got it. And you're a married man, Raj?
Yes.
So tell me about your wife and your marriage, and the impact that drinking may have been having on your marriage, and the impact that not drinking is having on your marriage.
So I've been married for 9 years. I've known my wife for about 11 years. And, when we first met, we were both young professionals who would be out, and, we would have drinks on our dates. And it's funny because I say I'm a binge drinker, but I also have this logical enough mind where I never got too drunk on our initial dates. Like, I knew when to stop so I wouldn't make a fool in front of her, because I really liked her. But she always knew me as a guy who liked to drink, and it wasn't a problem because I've been successful and I'm accomplished, and I'm a good person. I like to think. She thinks so. And so she just looked at it as everyone does it. So, it wasn't a problem. And, we got married, bought a home, had a child. And, I think through my marriage, as you get older, this is through my 30s, like I said, your drinking habits evolve a little just because, like, I didn't go out as much, right? So I'm not out socializing with my friends as much. You're married, and we go out together and stuff, and that would be our opportunity to socialize. And I would kind of get too drunk when that would happen. And now we're a married couple, and now she's kind of closer to it, and she's kind of like, well, do you have to drink so much when we go out? And those conversations start. And I always, again, I fiercely protected this thing as far as like, look, we're just out having fun. It's only once a week. It's only maybe not even once a week. Maybe it's a couple times a month, once every other week. And is it really a big deal if I get too drunk, a couple times a month? And she was just like, but you're such a good person otherwise. And you kind of turn into this person that I don't really like when you get too drunk. And I was just like, I always protected it as like, well, it's just a couple hours of the night, maybe, just get over it. Let me have this. And that's kind of how the conversation started around, or in my head is like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this because my wife really doesn't like it. And, there's this other part. So I'm a big sports fan in general. And I used to love to go out on Sundays and watch football all day with my buddies. And, I'd leave in the morning at 10 a.m. For the first game. And, would be just kind of drinking beer throughout the day. And I would come home really drunk. And she started to really get frustrated with that because it was consistent. And it was, not only was it consistent, but I'd leave in the morning and tell her like, okay, I'm not going to have that many today. It's not going to be like last Sunday. But it happened over and over. It was something that it's even though I told myself, don't do it this Sunday, it was inevitable. It was going to happen every Sunday. So eventually she really got to the point where it's like, look, I don't mind you drinking, but you cannot drink to the level that you do. And I started to really accept that. And, so then we had a child, and obviously I drank. I didn't go out as much because we have a child at home, a young child, and I did drink less. But then it kind of turned into me starting to experiment drinking more at home because I started to feel like I wasn't getting this release that maybe I got periodically by these binge drinking episodes that I previously got. So then I started drinking at home a little, but it was never that excessive. It was still kind of under control. And then the pandemic happened, and you can't go out at all, and we're stuck at home with a toddler. And we're working from home, and you can't go anywhere. You can't see your friends. You can't do any of that stuff. And I started drinking at home a little more than I should have. And I think that's when she was like, look, something's got to change here. And she was right. And so that's why when I in 2021, I kind of made this conscious decision is like, I can't be a binge drinker anymore. I have to be a moderate drinker. And what I learned is I'm not capable of being a moderate drinker. And that's why I started to really go down the route of I have to quit drinking altogether. And she's seen me do this now, and she herself is not a big drinker at all. I mean, when I say not a big drinker, she doesn't drink like I do. She doesn't binge drink. She has 1 or 2 glasses of wine or maybe 1 or 2 beers, and that's it. And so she's always been that way, but that's enough to get her loose and excited. But she's told me now that because of the changes that she's seen in me, she doesn't ever have to touch alcohol again. She said, I'll completely give it up as long as you give it up. You stay like this. So yeah, it's been a complete 180 in our relationship.
Yeah. So family life has just got better, it sounds like.
Yeah, we are actually expecting almost any day now. And the due date's in about a month. And
wow,
that actually happened after my first 90-day break earlier in 2021. And I actually think cutting back for 90 days is what allowed that to happen. We really wanted to have a second child. And I think my alcohol consumption was getting in the way of that. I actually know it was. So from a biological level. So
yeah. Would you say that you going alcohol free repaired your marriage, or do you think it just strengthened it? Like, what would be the right way to describe that?
I think repaired is a good way to put it because maybe between repaired and strengthened. I mean, I wouldn't say it was completely broken, but it was getting there. You know what I mean? It was definitely getting to the point that I never wanted to think about it as an ultimatum, like either you drink or I stay with my wife, because that would have been a hard way to quit drinking because I felt like it would have been for somebody else. And she never really gave me that ultimatum outright, but I knew I had to stop drinking the way that I was to really be able to have the family life that we both wanted. And again, I understood that I couldn't moderate. So that's where I had to like go down the route of quitting completely.
Yeah, got it. So what do you think you learned inside of Project 90 that was the catalyst for you saying, oh, maybe this is black magic? Like what were the one or two modalities or things that you learned or you experienced that got you to that, I think I've cracked this now?
You know what? I learned a lot in the P90 program. And, I was one of those people who I go all out in everything I do. So when I joined this, I attended all the group calls. I watched all the videos. I kind of did all the homework. And, one of the biggest things I learned, especially through the group calls, is this is a problem that a lot of people deal with. And you don't have to have lost everything. You don't have to be an alcoholic. And you don't, there's so many different ways that you can be a problem drinker, whether it's you just have a couple glasses of wine a night or whether you binge drink. But I just learned that a lot of people deal with this and a lot of people want to be free of this. A lot of people don't want to be dependent on this substance to unwind, to relax, to socialize. And so one of the biggest things I learned is this is not, sometimes I felt like this is just something that's a defect in my character. And, I always tried to control alcohol by like not drinking, because I knew once I started drinking, I was going to drink to excess. And I just, but I also thought I have to keep drinking. Like, this is just what everyone does. So I really learned that, like, I don't have to do this. And it's funny because a lot of the stuff I learned, it's kind of outlined in your pamphlet too, is it's not groundbreaking stuff. It's just, it's really simple things. Like, sometimes when you really want that ice cold beer on a hot day, you just want something to drink. You just want, now you have an ice cold like seltzer, and it's the same thing. And when I really, and you just learn these little tips and tricks about, like, if I just go into a social event and, try to channel that social energy, I can do it. I don't need the alcohol to bring it out of me. And it's actually almost hard to explain all the stuff I learned, because I learned that I don't want to drink alcohol. That's really what it comes down to, is I learned that I was relying it on as something I thought I needed, but I don't. And again, most of the people who join this program are high performers, and they've been successful, and it's because they've been that. I like to include myself in that, and it's because we've been that way. We can do this too. Like, for a long time, I thought I just couldn't quit drinking alcohol, but I did, and I have, and I can almost, just kind of move on now and just be, there's no desire to drink alcohol anymore. It's not even on my radar, and I still scratch my head about that. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, congratulations, Raj. Really, really happy for you, and really happy for your family as well, for your wife, and good luck with the new baby that's on its way in the next month or so. Looking forward to seeing the newborn. I'd love for you to send me a photo if you're willing. And here's to many more San Francisco Giants games, alcohol-free as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I still like to keep in touch with a lot of the people I've met through the P90 program. Everybody will be getting a video or something of the new baby. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you to the coaches, the community. I have trouble expressing how much this has really changed and impacted my life, even though, I say it over and over again, because this really was a problem in my life for a long time. And I think I'm a problem solver. I think I'm a very good problem solver. And I couldn't figure this one out. I just could not figure this one out. I could not figure out how I could not drink in excess. Like, I couldn't figure it out. And the thought of just not drinking didn't seem like a solution. I don't know. I had ruled that out as a solution. But that was the solution. That is the solution. And I understand now the theory and the reasons why that's the solution. So yeah, just thank you again.
You're so welcome. And thank you so much, Raj, for spending some time with us here today. All the best, mate. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I want to load you up with some free stuff. If you look in the show description, there's a link there to get my guide, which is the Alcohol Freedom Formula Guide. And in that guide, I will walk you through the process and system for successfully reducing or quitting alcohol. It's the same system and process that I give to my clients inside of Project 90. And if you would like to get your hands on that guide, you can click the link in the description part of this episode, or you can go to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide. Likewise, if you would like to be considered for Project 90 to join our community and get some accountability, some coaching, and have fun, achieve some goals over at least 90 days with our help and support, then you're invited to schedule a complimentary coaching call with one of my coaches. You can do that by clicking the link in the show description or going to alcoholfreelifestyle.com/schedule. Now, Project 90 is for over 30s only. And it's really for people who are ready to get long-term power over alcohol. You don't have to quit forever, but you will have to quit for at least 90 days with our support. Just a reminder, 95% of my content is free and plastered all over the internet. If you just Google James Swanwick and the word alcohol, you'll find that. For those of you who want additional support, if you want coaching, fun, accountability, if you realize that you can't do this on your own or you just plain don't want to, then I invite you to schedule that call and we can talk about if Project 90 is for you. If you would like to take some of my supplements, swanvitality.com is the website. I'll put a link in the show notes as well. I have a liver support product called Loving Liver, which I designed and specially formulated to help remove toxins from your liver after years of alcohol consumption. Again, there's a link in the show description. We've also got a green powder there, which turns into a green juice filled with amazing ingredients to support you and give you energy throughout the day. And there's also a magnesium product, which I take every night to help me prepare for sleep and to sleep through the night. So there's a few options there. Lastly, if this episode or the show in general has helped you or supported you in any way, I would so appreciate it if you would write a review. It really does help the show climb the rankings and expose the show to people who don't yet know about us. So if this show has benefited you in any way and you feel compelled to pay it forward, just writing a short little review, hopefully a nice one, will be so appreciated and I will thank you immensely. Lastly, if you'd like to talk to me about anything at all, feel free to send me an email at james@alcoholfreelifestyle.com. I do read and respond to every email. And you can also follow me on Instagram at James Swanwick. Send me a message there. And I look forward to connecting with you soon. Catch you on the next one.